What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we are going to rank the Oath of the Crown Paladin, that which is loyal to a fault to the ruler of wherever it is that you serve. And so this can be very interesting in how this all works roleplay wise, but is it good mechanically? We're gonna have to find that out today. But before we do, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, most people who watch the channel are not subscribed, so don't be that person. Please go ahead and subscribe. It really helps me out. We're trying to get to 5,000 by the end of this year, and I think we can do it, but I need your help in order to get there. And of course, make sure you share the video with your friends and click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded. So the Oath of the Crown is a very popular type of character, really. It is the one who guards the king or queen, right? One that is loyal to the crown, one that will give his or her life for that ruler. And so this can lead to a really interesting character. And, you know, if you end up finding out some crazy stuff, could lead to an oath breaking eventually, who knows? But ultimately, I think that this is a really cool subclass flavor-wise, but we're gonna have to find out if it's any good mechanically, so let's go ahead and do that. As always, we start off with our oath spells, and so here you go. Here is the list of all the spells that we are going to get in addition to our regular oath spells. And so there are a couple here that are decent. Really the biggest one that I'm concerned about is Spirit Guardians. We run into a lot of overlap on this list, unfortunately. And so there aren't as many that I'm all that excited about because we had a lot of these already. So that's a little unfortunate. I don't know. I just don't think that this list is all that impressive except for Spirit Guardians. Now Spirit Guardians is great. It's a really great spell. It works well on the Paladin kit. But here, I don't know. It's the only thing really to me that's kind of holding this list up. Ultimately, I think that this list gets a 4 out of 10. I just don't think there is enough here that is going to really boost us beyond what we could already do. Also at this level, we get Channel Divinity just like every other Paladin, and of course we get 2 options to choose from that are unique to this subclass. Starting off, we get Champion Challenge, and this actually allows us to force a Wisdom saving throw to a creature of our choice within 30 feet of us, and if that creature fails, then it cannot willingly move more than 30 feet away from us. Of course, this will end if it is incapacitated or dies, or if it just is more than 30 feet away from us, by us moving or by some other type of effect. This is meh, but let's go ahead and talk about Turn the Tide before we judge this thing fully. So as a bonus action, we can help other injured creatures, and so each creature of our choice within 30 feet of us can gain 1d6 plus our charisma modifier hit points as long as it has no more than half of its hit points already. This again is pretty disappointing, right? Last week we talked about the Oath of Conquest, that's up in the iCard above, and that caused the Frightened condition, right? And so the Frightened condition is better to me because yes, the opponent can't move any closer to you, but also has disadvantage as long as it can see you on a lot of things. And so to me, that's a lot more valuable than just can't go away from us for 30 feet. I just don't think that that's worth it. And I don't think that it's powerful enough to say that it's better than that one. And then Turn the Tide is just kind of meh, right? Like it's a one-time use, a bonus action, and it's kind of a healing word, sort of. I guess it's slightly better than Healing Word, but you can use Healing Word more than once, assuming you have the slots for it. So in that respect, it's kind of worse. So I don't know. Overall, I'm just not that impressed. Overall, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. I just don't think these options are good enough, especially compared to other subclasses that are out there to where they can really deserve a great ranking. At level 7, we get Divine Allegiance, and this allows us to kind of save our friends if they happen to be in a place where they're taking damage and they don't want to be. So with this, whenever a creature within 5 feet of us takes damage, we can use our reaction to take that damage instead. The damage, of course, then cannot be reduced or prevented in any way. So basically what that means is if the other creature didn't have resistance, but you do, it doesn't get reduced at all. So it's just you take whatever the number was of damage and you burn your reaction. So here's the thing, right? This sounds really good on paper until you skip ahead to the Oath of Redemption Paladin. Like I said, I'm looking at all of these paladins at once to come up with my rankings. And so, you know, when I read this, I was like, okay, this isn't terrible. This isn't the worst thing out there. But then I get to Oath of Redemption, and it's basically the same thing, except it's a bigger radius. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, this is just, I'm looking at the two, trying to figure out what the difference is. Why did they just make one that's worse? And this one's just worse. It's the same feature, just worse. And so I really didn't understand that personally, why they would do that. But, you know, again, this comes from Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. So I ask why they did certain things a lot, with a lot that came out of the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. But yeah, this is just disappointing. Overall, it's not a useless ability, but it's obvious that they were willing to do something a little bit better with other subclasses. For that reason, I can't go any higher than a 6 out of 10. It's okay, but they could have just made this better and it would have been perfectly fine. And I don't know. I think that that's kind of rude to this subclass and it deserved better. At level 15, we get Unyielding Saint, and it's a very simple ability. We have advantage on saving throws to avoid being paralyzed or stunned. I'll just be honest, I don't care. I really don't care, because paladins have such stupid high bonuses to saving throws at this point that having advantage is probably not going to matter, to be honest. I mean, you know, paladins are going to have probably double-digit bonuses at this level, at least, if not mid, like, teens of their boosts. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? Because you're adding all of your regular modifiers plus your charisma modifier because of your aura. So it's just, I don't know. It's also selfish. It's not even like this helps your friends that are within your aura. It's just you. So I don't know. I feel like this is going to hardly ever come up because we're just so good at saving throws anyway. For that reason, I've got to give this a 3 out of 10. It's just not something that's really going to come up all that often. And I don't think I really care, especially at level 15. Finally, at level 20, we get Exalted Champion, and this gives us yet another little aura that we can activate for 1 minute, kind of like the other paladins, and this gives us a few benefits. Number 1, we have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons. Our allies have advantage on death saving throws while within 30 feet of us. And finally, we and our allies have advantage on wisdom saving throws as long as they are within 30 feet of us. So let's break this down, right? Bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical damage at level 20. Okay, great. Minions aren't going to kill you. Every barbarian had this feature at level 1. I don't care. Our allies have advantage on death saves. Okay, that's decent. All right. And then advantage on wisdom saving throws. Again, the boost to us isn't as important. Maybe it'll help out our allies. But this is something that we're getting that part of it is from level 1 of another class. I could just take 1 level of barbarian and have this 20th level feature. That's not good. And this is actually worse because the barbarian feature actually has less restrictions. So I just don't see this as being a great 20th level feature. The advantage on death saves is fine, but I don't think that it's all that great, again, because they're going to be within your aura anyway. And so your other aura is going to be 30 feet. So they're already going to have a bonus of your charisma modifier. And now you're giving advantage as well. So they would have to roll terribly and have a really bad modifier. So I don't know. I just don't see this as being all that impressive. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. Overall, I just don't think that for a 20th level feature, this gives me enough to where I'm excited about it at all. So what do we think about the Oath of the Crown? I've been bashing it this whole video, and, looking at the kit as a whole, it doesn't really help because they don't really combo into each other like what others do. The Oath of Conquest at least had a way to cause fear, and then you had ways to use your aura in order to capitalize on that, right? Everything here is just kind of so generic that I don't see it all working as a cohesive kit. That and the fact that everything's just disappointing, right? Divine Allegiance at level 7 is just worse than being a Redemption Paladin. Exalted Champion is just very disappointing for level 20. Part of it is something a level 1 Barbarian can do. We've already got fat bonuses. Level 15 feature, we've already got a fat bonus, so we really don't need the advantage. And so if we're going to get advantage on something like that, it needs to be not something that's so specific. And so, yeah, and then the spell list is just not good either. So outside of Spirit Guardians, that's like the only good thing that I care about for this. You know, this doesn't necessarily make the Paladin worse in any way, but it really doesn't make it a whole lot better either. So ultimately, I've got to give this a 5 out of 10, right? A 5 and 6 is going to be roughly where I put things that are, you know, they don't necessarily hurt the main class, but they definitely don't push the needle any further. And that's really where this is. It's got Spirit Guardians, which is good, but besides that, I could kind of take it or leave it on almost everything else. And that's not really a good place to be. So we're going to have to fix one of these later on in the week. So again, make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss that video. Also, make sure to check out my dive back into the world of competitive Pokemon. I posted a video last Sunday about how I joined a draft league. Make sure to check that out as well if you're interested. The first battle of that will be going up this Sunday, and so I am very excited about that as well. And so, yeah, we'll see you later this week to fix the Oath of the Crown Paladin. Until then, stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.